Here's the final part.
All right.
Mr. 101, we're gonna ask you questions. You're gonna take us to school.
Okay.
So I'm gonna kick off the first question. So you and I, we talk a bit, and I remember last year at Elevation, you were telling me about all the music that you had coming, and now this is like a full year, over a full year later from
Yeah.
that time that we spoke. So from then until you essentially handed in your final mixes for this,
Mhm.
what was that process taking shape? Was this album kind of realized then when we were talking, or was it just building and building slowly since then?
So, quite honestly, like with this being my first album, like when I say album as far as like commercial art, my first solo album since the trap, which is
Yeah.
2018, a lot has changed. Cause like my sync projects, like, so to just put y'all in the game, like growing up, whole team winning, highlight tapes, even the one with my brother, uh, I forgot the name of it, but we sitting on the Corvette. Like those albums were for sync. They weren't like I didn't look at them like they were art pieces. So they were fun to make, but the whole goal was to get on ESPN. And it worked. Like that's why I get a lot of syncs. This is my first like album that's like a piece of art that I may get sync records off of it, but that's not the whole goal. So I had to go back to school and rediscover how to be an artist last year. Like so starting around October, I just had to start learning what being an artist felt like again. Like, what are people doing to be successful? How can I do it? What are some things that I should do? What are some things I should avoid? And that's what I've been doing this whole time. Is just really trying to get my feet back wet so that way when I put this album out, I won't be just throwing it out and it's not effective in the way that it reaches people. So that's number 1. Number 2, I do most of this stuff myself. So let's see, out of 10 tracks, there's only 2 of them that I didn't touch the production on. I recorded all of it, mixed it all, mastered it all. Um, the visual commentary, I edited the whole thing. We shot 10 music videos with Will Thomas. He'll edit those, but you know, there's been a lot of things I've been doing to really and I wanted to do them myself because this is also a part of my expression as well. I could have got someone to edit it, but I feel like the visual commentary feels much better because I edited it because it's another expression
Yeah.
on this album. So I think that that's really where the year has gone for me.
Yeah, and I know basically in between that and the trap, you also had By Any Means, which we know what happened with that.
Mhm.
And I think at the time you told me that you were redoing that, but did that become this project?
I thought about doing that, but no, it's not the energy or the feel or the emotion that I want to be with By Any Means. By Any Means has a very specific emotion that I'm trying to capture, and I just kept pushing these off. Um, I've been pushing By Any Means off because I want to be in the right headspace to create
Yeah.
that piece of art. Because I know a lot of people care about how that's going to conclude. So this record actually was I got this record. I have another record that I'm doing with somebody. I got like I have like 3 records in the can right now. And once I finish all those up, then I'm gonna do By Any Means.
No, speaking of, the headspace and everything, because By Any Means, that record doesn't work anymore because you're totally out of that headspace, right? Of the
Yeah,
original one.
yeah, the original one doesn't work. So I could try to just reproduce the production on it but man, I'm in a whole different place. So I'm even shifting how I want to conclude the project now because I'm in a different place. I have a new view on how life looks. So I want to make sure that I give people the record that they deserve. And that's why it's taking so long. Uh, it's all in God's timing. So I'm waiting just like y'all. Whenever we get it done, the people gonna get it done.
Doing the tour before the album's release changed how this album was put together?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, like, you wouldn't have the visual commentary if it wasn't for the tour. And that like, the whole reason I did it was just because while I was on the road, people were like, "Man, the people need to know the mind behind the record." Like, and I literally had a person walk up to me and say, "I would much rather come to something like this than a concert." They were literally like, "I would much rather just come and hear the artist and hear their heart." And it really impacted them in that way. So I was like, "Man, well, I wonder if we took that same format and made it visual, if it would be just as impactful." So we'll find out. We'll find out. It drops right before the album, so we'll find out.
Yo, are you gonna run that tour back? Like,
I don't know.
like is it
I'd like to. I'd like to. I gotta talk with Mike Mack and see what he thinks. But yeah, I'd like to. It'd be cool.
Touched on the sync licensing and what you were doing with all of the sync and stuff. And I wanted to ask, do you feel that being a Christian artist in the sync licensing realm, that it's a plus because most time you're already built with the thought process to have commercially clean content? Also, the second question that I did want to just state about is the legacy that you leave behind, because I know you're really active in Discord with the RMG amplifier out there. You're creating an avenue for cats to grow their brand, and that was like mad crazy. I'm saying all of these people who are coming up under the hand that you planted and you know what I'm saying the tree that you planted. So number one was about the sync licensing aspect. Do you feel like that we have like a one up in that area because we already make commercially clean content? And two, like how important is that part to your legacy of Derek Minor the person?
Yeah, I think it is an edge. If you're good at making clean music, that's an edge because clean music can go anywhere, right? It just really can. But I think the disadvantage that a lot of Christian artists have is they're conscious in having to feel like they have to throw Jesus in everything. So if somebody sends a brief and they're like, "Yo, we want a song about cars," and it's like, "Man, God drove my sin all the way to hell." Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like that's one of the issues that a lot of Christian artists struggle with, or they don't struggle with actually creating that kind of stuff, but they struggle with, I mean, I know for me, a lot of people were like, "Man, your music just doesn't have substance anymore." Because people are used to music with a lot of weight. And the whole point of sync music is background music. There's not going to be a lot of weight to those records. They're just not going to have that. So that's the pros and cons in that. As far as legacy is concerned, I mean, the story's still being written. So my goal is just to continue helping people where I can and being the best leader possible.
All right, Derek, in the documentary, you talk about getting a phone call from Toby Nwigwe
Huh?
reminding you of your purpose. So, are you are you able to talk about that phone call a little bit and just like why it happened and how it, rejuvenated you?
Yeah, it was a check. So I put that in there because it was important to me. But I'm not gonna sit up here and act like me and Toby are best friends. Like we text every now and again. He's a good dude. I'm super blessed to be able to even have a relationship with somebody that talented and just real guy. But man, after the Derek Chauvin stuff, my mom called me. And I remember Toby texting me, and I started, I was just like, yeah, whatever. And he was like, man, this is not part of your purpose. And I was like, he said that, and it jarred me. And I responded, I was like, I don't even know my purpose. And that sent me on this journey to be able to say, no man should be purposeless. No person should feel purposeless. But at the time, I really felt purposeless. I felt on the outskirts of CHH or Christian music. I felt like the outskirts of the church, and I felt like the outskirts of just like America. And I was like, man, I guess my only purpose is to just, I think I just gave up dreaming. I didn't know what I was supposed to be doing. And I was like, well, let me make it simple. It's make money and take care of my family. And being able to do that for a couple years is what actually allowed me to have some weight to my words now. Because I have found my purpose. But yeah, that was a and it's crazy how God can use something really small like that to really change you. I can think of several times when it's not the big counseling session. Sometimes it's just a person just shooting you a text message. Sometimes it's somebody praying for you. Sometimes it's somebody just giving you a hug that could really jolt you out of one direction and put you somewhere else. So, yeah.
There was a comment about nobody's perfect not being biblically accurate and an excuse for being sinful, and you responded to it. Can you elaborate on the name and the factual intent behind it?
Yeah. Nah, that means I'm glad that you asked that. So I remember I was promoting my wife is a baker, and we were doing this thing where you come to our pop-up shop and you get some good food and you listen to that album early. Now hashtag that nobody's perfect. And this guy jumps in and he says, "Be perfect, for I am perfect." And he quotes the scripture.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, okay. And I'm like, well, nobody can be without sin, though. And he said, do you agree? This is what got me. When he said this, I was like, all right, I don't know what else to say. Do you agree that once you're a Christian, that it's impossible for you to sin? And I said, no, I do not agree. I mean, that's the whole essence of what Romans is saying is that, even though we still are sinful, like Christ redeems us. So I guess people have this perspective when they hear, and I get it, because people have used the term nobody's perfect to really kind of be like, whatever, and very flippantly. But I'm not doing it in that way. I'm reclaiming it in a way of saying, like, yo, you're not perfect. And that's absolutely normal. Because I know I felt normal. I didn't feel normal for making mistakes. I felt like my mistakes were the biggest mistakes in the world, and nobody else is making mistakes. And I was so full of shame. I felt
Right.
like, you know what I'm saying? And at the same time, I felt like with other people, if they did things, that everything they did was on purpose and it was an affront to me. They were trying to hurt me. I didn't leave any space really for people to just be imperfect and in their process and in their journey. So what I said with, the post I said is real simple. I'm not saying nobody's perfect so that people can just make excuses to do evil. First off, that's lame. Um, but second off, like that's not the message you get from any of the content that I put out in any way, right? But what I
Yeah,
am
that's good.
saying, but what I am saying is for the people who are struggling, that are trying to do their best, that's trying to make it happen, that there's grace for you. There's grace for you. And since there's grace for you, you should have grace for others. It's that simple.
And I can't believe I get to tell you this, bro. Listen, one of my favorite bars from you ever embodied everything that I and anybody else who ever picked up a pen as a rap artist has felt who loves Jesus. You
Okay.
said, and I quote, you can put me in a circle with some ill rappers and I'll rap about God, then kill rappers.
Uh
But that's how I feel every day. I wake up in the morning. I said, I
huh.
brush my teeth. Like I wish somebody would come up, bro, right now, bro. With this
Right.
aim, I got the aim on the, you know what I'm saying? Don't get your
Right.
ginger, you know what I mean? To be out here, bro. You know what I'm
Uh-huh.
saying? But so how do you find the balance with your writing, while still, you know what I'm saying, by keeping, the what the word, man, the hip hop energy, you know what I'm saying, by not, because we know hip hop is a prideful thing, but it's also sport. You know what I'm saying? That's why cats like, the Four Horsemen, shout out to the Horsemen. You know what I mean? A battle and they see it as the sport thing and they're not really, about the pride. But how do you find the balance in your writing? Do you ever feel the need to remind the people I am him when you're going through your creative process?
You know what? For me, when I write, I don't judge the rap according to what others are gonna think. Like, I try not to, in the sense that I don't care what they think, in the sense of, do they think I'm humble enough or lyrical enough or whatever. I judge it whether they get what I'm trying to say or not, right? So there's nothing I can do to convince people of anything. So I just live my life. Far as balance is concerned, I think balance in the music just comes from being balanced in real life. I'm the type of artist that I rap about my experiences and where I'm at. So here's the thing: if you want to know about me, listen to my music.